Are you kidding me right now? You're telling me that WWE in the year 2025 is still pushing Logan Paul like he's some wrestling savant while actual legends like the Usos have to share the spotlight with a YouTuber who shows up once every 4 months? And don't even get me started on Drew McIntyre having to babysit this part-timer through what should have been an absolute banger of a match. This War Games Advantage match on Raw had everything it needed to be spectacular, but WWE found a way to make us question everything about how they book their talent. Let me break down exactly what happened, why it matters, and why you should be furious about the direction this company continues to take. Before we dive into this absolute chaos, let me ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly in the comments. Do you think Logan Paul has earned his spot in a War Games Advantage match, or is WWE just desperate for mainstream attention? Drop your thoughts below, because this is about to get heated. Now, let's set the stage. Monday Night Raw, the 24th of November 2025. The War Games Premium Live event is looming on the horizon, and the stakes couldn't be higher. This wasn't just any tag team match, this was for the War Games Advantage. Whoever wins this match gets to send an extra member into the War Games structure first, giving their team a massive strategic edge. It's the kind of stipulation that should have the entire WWE universe on the edge of their seats. On one side, you've got the Usos, Jimmy and Jey Uso, the most decorated tag team in WWE history. These men have held the tag team championships more times than most wrestlers have had title opportunities. They've main event WrestleManias. They've been the backbone of the Bloodline saga that dominated wrestling for nearly 3 years. They are tag team wrestling personified. On the other side, Drew McIntyre, the Scottish Warrior, a former WWE champion, a man who's been fighting tooth and nail to reclaim his spot at the top of the card. And his partner, Logan Paul. Yes, that Logan Paul, the social media influencer turned part-time wrestler who somehow keeps getting opportunities that full-time roster members would literally sacrifice their bodies for. Here's where my blood starts boiling. Drew McIntyre, a man who's given everything to this company, who performs at an elite level every single night, who cuts promos that give you goosebumps, had to team with someone who treats WWE like a hobby between podcast episodes and energy drink promotions. Can you imagine the conversations backstage? Can you imagine Drew, who eats, sleeps, and breathes professional wrestling, having to coordinate with someone who's learning on the job? But let me give credit where it's due. When that bell rang, this match delivered in the ring. The Usos came out with that signature swagger, their chemistry absolutely undeniable. Every superkick, every tag, every sequence, it was poetry in motion. Jimmy and Jey have been teaming together their entire lives, and it shows. They don't just know where each other will be, they operate like a single organism with 4 limbs. Drew McIntyre brought that intensity we've come to expect. The Claymore kicks, the overhead belly-to-belly suplexes sending Usos flying across the ring, the pure power that makes you remember why this man is a main event caliber performer. Every time Drew was in the ring, you could feel the energy shift. This is what a top star looks like, people. And then there's Logan Paul. Look, I'll be objective here, the man is athletic. He hit a beautiful springboard clothesline. His frog splash looked crisp. He's got the physical tools, no question about it. But here's my issue, and I want you to tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. Does athleticism alone justify putting someone in this spot? In a match with this level of importance? When you've got a locker room full of wrestlers who've been grinding 4 years waiting for an opportunity like this? The match itself was a roller coaster. The Usos isolated Logan Paul at one point, because of course they did, is the weak link, and worked him over with that calculated precision that only comes from decades of experience. The tandem offense, the quick tags, the cute half of the ring, this is psychology 101, and the Usos have a PhD in it. Drew McIntyre got the hot tag, and the place erupted. He came in like a freight train, taking out both Usos with clotheslines, suplexes, and that signature intensity. The countdown spot where he was setting up for the Claymore on Jimmy while Jey was down, chef's kiss, that's how you build drama. But here's where things got controversial. The finish came when Logan Paul hit his maverick maneuver, a springboard moonsault plasher to the outside, taking out one of the Usos. Meanwhile, Drew hit the Claymore kick on the other Uso in the ring for the pinfall victory. Drew and Logan win. They get the War Games advantage. On paper, it's a clean finish. But let's talk about what this means. The Usos, the most decorated tag team in WWE history, just lost to a makeshift team featuring a part-timer who's probably already booked his next boxing match before his next WWE appearance. How does that make the Usos look? How does that make the entire tag team division look when a celebrity can waltz in and beat your top teams? Quick trivia break: who do you think is the greatest tag team of all time? The Usos, the Dudley Boys, the Hardy Boys, or someone else entirely? Let me know your pick in the comments. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but Logan brings mainstream attention. He brings new eyeballs to the product. And you know what? You're right, he does. But at what cost? At the cost of roster morale? At the cost of making your full-time performers look like they are on the same level as someone who shows up whenever his schedule permits? Think about it from the Usos perspective. They've been carrying the tag team division on their backs. They've made multiple tag teams look like $1 million in that ring. They've elevated everyone they've worked with. And now they are doing the job for Logan Paul. Make it make sense. And before you blow up the comments saying I hate Logan Paul, I don't. I actually respect that he's taken this seriously, trained hard, and hasn't injured anyone with reckless work. But there's a difference between respecting someone's effort and thinking they deserve spots over people who've dedicated their entire lives to this industry. Here's another thing that's driving me insane: the optics of this whole situation. WWE has been under fire for years about their treatment of tag team wrestling. The division gets neglected, teams get broken up randomly, championships change hands in throwaway matches on TV. And then when they do have a chance to elevate the division, when they have a match with real stakes involving the Usos, they book a celebrity to go over. Drew McIntyre deserves better than this too. This man should be in the WWE Championship picture. He should be main eventing premium live events. Instead, he's playing second fiddle to a storyline that's clearly designed to get social media buzz. Drew's too talented, too over with the crowd, and too valuable to be used as Logan Paul's veteran babysitter. Let me ask you this, and I really want your opinion on this one: should part-time celebrities like Logan Paul be allowed to compete in matches with stakes as high as War Games Advantage, or should those spots be reserved for full-time roster members? Comment below, because this is a conversation we need to have. The implications for War Games are huge now. Drew and Logan's team, whichever team they are representing, now gets the numerical advantage when the match starts. That's a game changer. That could determine the entire outcome of one of WWE's most brutal match types. And it was decided by a match where a part-timer played a crucial role in the victory. But here's what really gets me, and this is what should make you mad too: the Usos didn't need to lose this match. There were a dozen ways to book this where everyone comes out looking strong. You could have had interference. You could have had a DQ finish that leads to chaos and escalation. You could have had the Usos win and then get jumped afterward, setting up further storylines. Instead, WWE chose the path that makes their most accomplished tag team look beatable by a team thrown together with a part-timer. This is exactly what's wrong with modern WWE booking. They prioritize moments over stories. They prioritize headlines over logic. They prioritize celebrity appearances over the performers who bleed for this company 52 weeks a year. The Usos have main event WrestleMania. They've held championships for over 600 days. They've been central to the biggest storyline in recent WWE history, and somehow, they are taking pins for Logan Paul's comeback tour. One more question for you before we wrap this up: who do you think should have won this match, and how would you have booked it differently? I'm genuinely curious about your fantasy booking, so drop it in the comments. Look, the match was entertaining. The action was solid, but entertainment value doesn't erase questionable booking decisions. It doesn't erase the frustration of watching part-timers take spots from full-timers. It doesn't erase the concern that WWE values celebrity buzz over building sustainable stars. The road to War Games just got a whole lot more complicated, and not necessarily in a good way. If you're as frustrated as I am about this result, smash that like button, share this video with every wrestling fan you know, and let WWE know in the comments how you really feel about this booking decision. This is Wrestling Zone 1, and we're not afraid to call it like we see it, even when it makes us furious.